So, again, we're going to try the Q&A deal and see where we go. Go ahead, right here.
There were reports that you all found a note at his home. Do you know the contents of the note, and can you share that?
Yeah, so we've heard the same thing, and there was a note at one of these residences. I'm not prepared to really talk about what that included. And I think that's probably, again, a common sense answer because that does involve, is there a mindset here? Is there a motive? What did that entail? So we'll definitely continue to work on that, and when we can release it, we certainly will.
Sir.
Right here, sir.
Commissioner, so in reference specifically to what's behind you and what's going on at the river, is there any information that you have that's leading you in the direction that he may have killed himself and his body is in there, or is it just one of the possibilities?
Well, I think one of the possibilities is key, right? Because clearly we don't have him located at this point. We don't have him in custody. So all of those options are on the table. We certainly don't want to wait too long because the river is a big piece of this. The car was located there. Evidence is located in the vehicle or right there along the shores of the Androscoggin River. So that's stuff that we want to make sure that we're checking, and we're using the resources that we have available. We're using the expertise that we have available with the dive team and all our partners to make sure we're checking that. At the same time, right, we're checking all these other things. We're working through the crime lab on this other information. So all of those things are occurring at the same time. I would also state, and I want to make sure that I say this because they've been very, very helpful, the Brookfield Power Company owns 2 dams, operates 2 dams in this area. And they've been very cooperative. You know, they live it every day. So as an example, one of the things that we're doing, the river currently runs at like 8,500 cubic square feet per second, and when they tighten the dam tools down, they actually lower that down to like 5,500 cubic feet, right? Does that mean anything to you? What it means to us is that that current, if we can slow that current down, we can lower the amount of water in the river. It's certainly easier for us to work. It's easier for our divers to see in clearer water than muddier water. If it's a foot lower than it was before, it's easier for us to work. And there's different searches, obviously, but unfortunately, people lose their lives in bodies of water on a regular basis. So this is something that we're trying to dial it in. But yes, sir, right here. Yep.
Deer hunting starts tomorrow.
Yeah, it sure does, yep.
Yeah, can you address that?
Yeah, sure. So I've had conversations with Commissioner Camuso, Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. Judy's great. We are having those conversations. I would expect to hear more about that later in the day. It's a big deal in Maine. It may not be a big deal for a lot of people from other communities, but we know what that's going to look like. We also know we're in the woods. You know, if you just happen to be in the woods, minding your own business, going for a walk, that's going to make us a little concerned, right? So it's definitely a good question. It's something that we're actively working on. Right here, sir.
You talk about this tremendous amount of assets here
Yeah.
and the search for him. Can you talk about the pressure you guys are feeling to find him, to give this community some sense of answers as this enters its 3rd day?
Yeah, sure. I think, you know, pressure is one way to put it. I mean, we're concerned about the victims, their families, and our communities. I'm concerned every day, 24/7, 365, at this point for 30 years. That's why I got into this business. We do want to help people. We do want to make them safe. Making them safe and making them feel safe may not necessarily be the same thing either, right? Because I think our law enforcement partners, our first responders around the state, everybody is dialed in. They do that all day, every day. This is clearly a completely different animal. So for us, we want to make sure that we bring this individual to custody, but we got to do it right. We got to do it the safe way. Don't want to see anybody else get hurt, certainly our people and our community members. So we want to make sure that we do that right. We're not going to be rushed, but we're running right on that level, that we're going to work as hard as we can, as fast as we can, with as many resources as we can to try to bring some kind of closure here. So, right here, ma'am. Right here, ma'am.
Do you understand that the family is being cooperative? What are they telling you?
Oh, I think whether you see the 530 tips and leads overall, I think we're seeing a lot of cooperation across the board. I'm not going to speak to anybody in particular, but I think there's a lot of cooperation. There's a lot of compassion here. There's empathy that people understand what happened here, not only to the victims, but again to the state and to our country. So people are coming forward. They are participating in the process, and that's just the nature of the beast. But I'm not sure I answered it. So go ahead and follow up.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Specifically, the family of the suspect. We understand they are cooperating. What are they telling you, and how are they helping you in the investigation?
Yeah. So I won't speak again specifically to what anybody said one way or the other, but we do appreciate everybody's cooperation because we know that this is difficult for everybody. No matter how you could be the neighbor of somebody. This is tough for people to digest and understand and to try to work through. So that's a good right here, sir. Right here.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Specifically warning, forget about information. The family has told multiple news outlets there were warnings provided to law enforcement. Which agencies received those warnings, and did you think at any point that it might warrant a yellow flag pursuit?
Well, I'm heavily involved in the yellow flag conversation overall, but the reality for today is I'm not going to talk specifically about who knew what and when. We're still actively involved in a very dynamic situation here, and we're focused on an individual that currently has 8 warrants out for murder. We're trying to figure that part out, trying to bring him into justice as well as investigate this crime. There will be a time
Can you
when
confirm the warning, though? Can you confirm warnings were issued?
I cannot confirm that one. So,
Yesterday,
sir, right here, you.
Yesterday, the Senator Collins said that the yellow flag law should have been enforced in this situation. So as you stand here today, what is your response to that? And also, as you stand here today, was law enforcement notified of the threats that he was making, of his condition? Were they aware of it, and what steps were taken to investigate that?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, and Senator Collins is great. We have a great federal delegation that works incredibly hard on behalf of the state of Maine. I don't know exactly what the good senator said. I respect her a great deal, so I won't answer to any comments that she made. If that's her perspective, based on what she knows through the general public or otherwise, then that's fine. She certainly has the right to do that. But based on what I've seen, we're going to continue to work through that. We asked good questions. It may even have been you, sir, around the firearm itself, and there's going to be an opportunity. The ATF is here. The ATF is working with us. They have been there since the first second. There's going to be an opportunity to answer all those questions and figure out, so was that a violation or not? It's also an opportunity from an educational standpoint to talk about what that really means, what that really looks like, and what the options, in fact, are.
Right. I mean, the thing is that folks want to know.
I'm gonna go over here, though, sir, so I appreciate the follow-up and the initial question. You.
Talk about timeline yesterday. 911 calls. Do you have the time, precise times that police arrived on the scene?
Arrived, no. So it was 6:56 for the initial call, and then 7:08 for the second call. Multiple calls for each location, and so that's what I had. I don't know exactly when they arrived, other than to say these calls in any scenario are a priority, to say the least. So everybody's going, and they're going as fast as humanly possible. So that's the. I'm not done answering the first question. So was that enough, sir? Does that make sense on that? I will take a look at the arrival time so that we have that information, and we may be able to provide that at a different. And I would say this, okay? The way this is going to work, just so we're all clear, the way this is going to work is if we have a Q&A and you ask me questions and I attempt to answer them, as soon as we start yelling over each other, I'm done, just so we're clear. And we don't want to do that. We're trying to be as cooperative as we can across the board, but we'll be back another time, and we're just trying to figure that out. Yes, sir, right here.
Thank you. We're coming up on 48 hours. Are you concerned the trail is growing cold?
I think that every minute that this goes on, we're more and more concerned, because what's the next thing that's going to happen? And we understand that, and that's why we're working 24/7 to bring this individual to justice and to try to bring some closure and overall safety to our communities. So yes, we feel that just as much as the community member does or any of us. This is a privilege. This is an honor we have to do something about these tragedies when they occur. In many instances, I've been in those scenarios. This happens out of state. You're sitting on your couch wishing you could do something to help. Well, we're in a position to do something to help, and we will. There's no question in my mind that we will bring this individual into custody one way or the other. I'm going to take one more question from you, sir, and then we're going to be done.
Confirm that you've identified 16 out of the 18 bodies, and if so, can you confirm the demographics, please?
Yeah, and I think that that may be a question, the specifics may be a question for a future briefing. We have identified and notified the families of 8 of the 18 fatalities that were involved in this incident. We mentioned those 8 murder warrants, and the reason why we have 18 victims, we only have 8 of those warrants. That's just because 8 of those people have been identified, and 8 of those people, the families, have been notified, which is certainly key for us to make sure we get that right. But further demographics around that, the colonel gave gender, yesterday, and we'll take a look at ages and some other information. I'd like to be able
16 number is inaccurate.
So I'd like to be able to honor the group of victims by talking about them in a specific session that I would view coming shortly. 8 of the 18 have been identified and notified, not 16, and I don't know where that came from. So thank you very much. I do appreciate it. We will see you again along the way. Thank you.